Hey everyone, just a quick one. So the interview you're about to listen to with Kurt talks a little bit in the early stages about real estate agents, but I really want you to, if you're not a real estate agent, I really want you to keep listening, because there's some really top tips that he comes up to in terms of questions to ask yourself. And I want to start. Keep listening to the whole interview, because even the last question, question 7, there's a couple of real gems there. Cheers. Welcome everyone to another edition of I'm beaming out to you from the Sunshine Coast in Australia here, joined today by Kurt Uhlir. Kurt, g'day mate, how are you? Where are you hanging out?
Yeah, I'm hanging out in North Georgia today.
North Georgia, and I believe this is your second home, your lodge, which is 2 hours from where you live. Which is, where do you normally hang out? Where's
normally hang out just north of Atlanta, Georgia, in the States.
Sounds like a fabulous setup. And folks, the reason that Kurt enjoys such a fantastic lifestyle for him and his family, you're about to find out some of his secrets, because he's a globally recognized marketer. He's a business operator, which is very different to someone who simply acts as a consultant, hands-on. He's also a well-recognized and in-demand speaker. He's built and run businesses from startups to over 500 million annual revenue, assembled teams across 6 continents. Didn't even know there were 6. He's been part of the small team leading an IPO, which is a launch, which generated 880 million. And he's participated in dozens of acquisitions. So this is going to be real interesting. Thanks, Kurt, for being here. The title today is How to Thrive in the Influence Economy Using Influencer Marketing. So our 7 questions is going to start now, sir. Question number 1 is, who is your ideal client?
So in the past, I have worked across many different technology fields, but now I tend to be very focused on marketing consultants and agencies that work in real estate, or they work in other industries and they've stayed away from real estate because they find it to be really difficult. And so whether it's those that are focused in it now or those that are shied away for one reason or another.
Thank you for that. What would you say is the problem you solve? How do you define that?
Well, so often when I talk to marketers that have looked at working in real estate, especially those that are building websites, they give me a response. They go, God, real estate agents, realtors are just difficult and they're just painful clients to work with. And so because of that, they've struggled to try to maybe work through 1 or 2 clients or not being able to have it. And that problem then ends up being thing is that, like, it's really, not only is it a really good niche to go into, it's also highly lucrative if you can deliver, because so many people stay away from it. And they're just locked because they think it's a client's business and not their own.
Thank you for that. So let's take someone who would be an ideal client of yours. Question 3 is, what's going on in their business or their life that are kind of the symptoms that would give them a heads up that they should be reaching out and talking to you?
Well, in some cases, I mentioned they've started to work with a real estate client, and it was just extremely painful. And if they're going to build a website, which is kind of that digital hub, especially in the influence economy, anything online marketing, it might have taken them even 5 times, 10 times the length that it would normally take them to build that site for them. And so they won't even talk to the client. They won't return as potential clients in some cases. But often in other cases too, they'll struggle with it. They'll build it. They make decent money still from it, but they're not able to find that inflection point. So they're building 1 or 2, 3 sites kind of in real estate, when they could easily, even just as a solopreneur, they could be building 12 to 24 on a monthly basis if they figured it out. And not just figured out like the technology stack, but figured out what the agent's really needing today.
So you deal with people that are, aspiring to do something like what you've done in terms of achieving results. So what I'm saying is that they're assertive people. They're going to be trying things. Question 4, 4.5 minutes left. Question 4 is, what would you say are some of the common mistakes that people make? They're trying to grow, but before they find your solution, what are they doing that's just never going to work?
They often think that they're right in their own businesses, not just like I mentioned, like those real estate clients. They haven't been able to grow through the problems they're having, whether it's onboarding real estate clients, growing their marketing agency, or even just growing their business operation wise, because they think they're right. And the example I give is like I literally wake up every day and I just tell myself, I know I'm wrong about 3 things in my business today and probably 2 or 3 things in my marriage today. And I know that because looking back over history, repeatedly in both personal life and work, there are things that happen where, as an angel investor, I maybe wrote multiple checks to a company or something in operations where I've been doing something for 6 months or 3 years. And I thought I was right the whole time until something happened that made me realize I was wrong. And it was Wile E. Coyote out over the cliff. There's nothing behind me, and I realized I've been writing this check to this company for an angel investment that was stupid. Looking back, it was dumb. I should have known it then, or the reason my business wasn't growing. I thought I was right the whole time, and I wasn't humble enough to admit, gosh, I was wrong, and maybe the problem is me.
Fabulous. Thank you for that. 3 minutes left, sir. Let's flip this now. We've sort of talked about who you serve and what their issues are, common mistakes. What would you say is a step forward for folks? Question 5 is, what's one valuable free action that someone listening to this could take? It's not going to solve the whole problem, but might take them a step in the right direction.
Yeah, for me, it is blocking time in my calendar for kind of 2 retrospectives personally. I know the last thing that high achievers want to do is take time to sit and just stare out the window. They want to do something, and they think like sitting, reflecting time isn't doing something. But I think that the biggest thing when I'm coaching people individually in their businesses is I make them put on their calendar, time for 2 things. One is, I mentioned, like literally asking yourself, what could I be wrong today? Doesn't mean that you are wrong. It's just taking that time to even realize, gosh, what could I be wrong? So that when you're asking that question, you're usually aware of, you'll pay more attention to those things as they come up during the day about, that could come up. And that second thing is, who's in your team or support structure that can help you identify those things that we just talked about?
Very interesting. And the retrospective, how much time do you put aside yourself for that looking back and the thinking you mentioned? What would you recommend people look at for that?
I sometimes take only 30 seconds, probably no more than 90 seconds every morning, just thinking about what could I be wrong about today.
Right.
As far as identifying who's on my team, almost, probably 60 seconds or to 5 minutes of every meeting I have with somebody that works for me or that's my mentor.
Fantastic. Great top tip. Thank you for that. Let's go to question 6. One valuable free resource. Where could we direct people to that are going to find out more about your work? And I know you're big on servant leadership. So where can they go to find out more about this?
Yeah, so I have a guide on my website that's free to anyone. And so if they go to just kurtuhler.com/MTI, it'll direct them to that free guide to servant leadership and help them figure out some of those things that we talked about.
Fabulous. And question 7, sir, we've got 50 seconds left. What's the one question I should have asked you but didn't?
Is there anything else in my life that helps me keep on track for growing my business?
And drum roll, the answer.
Yes, I have 2 things that I do every one every day and one every week. So when I do a daily office, I don't spend a lot of time. I just spend 2 to 5 minutes max every day, just disconnecting and refocusing on my faith in God and what's important life-wise, business-wise. That's hugely important because I get too distracted with busy. And the other is a weekly recap where I usually take about 30 minutes to go, what did I get done? What do I need to change so that I can accomplish things next week?
Great anchor points. Kurt, thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for checking out our Marketing the Invisible podcast. If you like what we're doing here, please head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review. It's very much appreciated. And if you want to generate 5 fresh leads in just 5 hours, then check out www.5hourchallenge.com.